Seems like what's on a lot of people's minds right now is this song by a guy named Oliver Anthony. The name of the song is Rich Men North of Richmond. This song already has, as of today's date, it was released August 18th, which is a little over 2 weeks ago. And it's number 4 currently trending on music in YouTube. 45 million views in just a little over 2 weeks from a guy who's not connected to the music establishment, to the political establishment, and to the climate that typically fosters division. Because like we say on this channel a lot, mainstream, fake stream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, and if it's infiltrated by the intelligence community, it's not on your side. But we've seen that it's almost like their sole existence is to just distract, deceive, divide, demoralize, and dehumanize us so that we can be easily conquered. And my question is this song, Rich Men North of Richmond, which really talks about people in Washington, D.C., the swamp in Washington, D.C., not just the left swamp, but the right swamp, the whole kit and caboodle. Could this be a paradigm-changing occurrence on this time continuum that we're on? I'm hoping it is. Is Oliver Anthony, who wrote and performed this song, a genuine person? I don't know. I hope that he is. We're going to look at some of this song. We're going to look at some of the things that he says about his song and the misunderstandings that he's taken away from it and the people that he's talked to and what it really is all about, and how, more importantly on this video, how it could change the landscape of not just America, but of the world. Because we know distract, deceive, and divide and conquer is the goal of any elitist. It is the goal of mainstream, fake stream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media. So let's listen to some of the song right here. I'm not going to play all of it. I'll play little bits and pieces and then come back to it. But we are going to consider the words. This isn't some kind of, I'm not a music critic or anything like that, but I do want to parse out and think about and maybe digest a little bit deeply the words and the message that he's trying to convey.
Well, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame. What?
Yeah, that is a damn shame. See, they want us distracted. They want us poor. Amschel Rothschild said back in the 17 or 1800s, give me control over a nation's money and I care not who makes its laws. If I have control over the issuance and the value of the currency that everybody in this particular country is going to be using, I have total power and control. Because do I have a dollar? I don't even have a fiat currency note, do I? Where is it? Let's see if I got one. Yeah, here's a $20 note. This isn't even sound money. It's not even real money. It's operated and we use it as currency. But he says, give me control over this and I have control over everything. I don't care who makes the laws, the policies, the rules, the ordinances, the regulations. This is a Federal Reserve note. It's literally a note of debt. And one of the lines in his song is, this ain't worth Shiite. And it's true. The value is derived from the perception that everybody believes it's valuable, not that it's valuable in and of itself. It's the petrodollar currency system based on oil and the power and might of the United States military and the military industrial complex. So when he talks about rich men north of Richmond, he's talking about the people in Washington's district of criminals who are supposed to be representing you, and yet they're in the tank for the Federal Reserve, who controls your currency. And if they control the issuance of your currency and the value of your currency, they control your labor. They control what you do. They control why you get up in the morning. They control why you're at work and how many hours you work. They control everything. This is an instrument of total control. And until we change this, it doesn't matter if you're Republican. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat. It doesn't matter if you're moderate. It doesn't matter if you're involved in politics. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or gay or straight or anything. They own you. They own everything about you. This is just a representation of two major things in your life, your time and your labor. And if they control your time and your labor, they control you. And then now they want to go digital with it with these CBDCs or central bank digital currency. So it's basically a surveillance coin. At least with cash, you got a little bit of freedom. You can do a backroom deal, which is not necessarily a crime. They call the powers that shouldn't be, call it the black market to make it sound scary. All it is when you boil it all down, it's two people entering into a mutually consensual, voluntary arrangement. You've got something I want. I've got something you want. We're going to make an exchange, and it's all going to be consensual. But the rich men in Richmond don't want that. They want total control over you and me.
The world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men know.
Living in the new world with an old soul. Usually old souls are knowledgeable. They have wisdom. They have something actually of value to deposit into society, but the new world doesn't want any part of it. It's no measure. It makes me think of that thing that we talk about all the time. It's no measure of good mental health to be considered well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Our society is profoundly sick. And why is it? Because it is distracted. It is deceived. It is divided. It has been dehumanized and demoralized. And it is easily conquered.
For Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Wanna know.
Yeah, Jack Hall says in the chat room, old souls know about freedom, and old souls know what slavery is, and they know the difference. They know that government comes, the alibi of tyrants is always safety and security and freedom, but they give you the exact opposite. And that's what those old souls know. They know about freedom. They know the difference between freedom and slavery, and they know that this is total control. This is total slavery.
What you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men.
It's taxed to no end because of the rich men north of Richmond, the Republicans, the Democrats, the congressmen, the senators, the governors, the president of the United States. It doesn't matter if he's team red or team blue. He's against you. If they're for the Federal Reserve, they're against you. If they're for the domestic terror cell known as the IRS because they have what it takes to take what you've got, then they're against you. The rich men north of Richmond claiming to represent you are against you. They're not your friend. They're not your representative. They're your enemies.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare.
I don't know if you caught that. And the obese, milk, and welfare. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's punching down at the poor. He's punching down at people who are not healthy. He's just stating these are just facts. Do you want to continue? And, people call them useless eaters. Do you want people to continue going down the road they're going because they are distracted, deceived, divided, dehumanized, and demoralized? Or do you want them to take a different direction? Do you want them to become self-empowered? Or do you want them constantly sucking at the government teat? Because the government wants you constantly sucking at their teat because that gives them total power over you. So I don't view this, and we're gonna hear what he says about this specifically in a second. But if The welfare system is a wealth transfer system. It's a transfer of wealth from a group of people who actually earned that money to a group of people who don't deserve that money. Because remember, that money represents something. It represents your time and labor. So they're transferring your time and labor that you spent to earn what you've got, so that you can put a roof over your kids' heads, so you can put food in their stomachs and clothes on their back. And they're transferring that wealth for political clout or whatever to other people who didn't earn and don't deserve the product of your time and laboring energies.
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord.
Yeah, all the people who are shouldering the burden to make this world a better place. You got the rich men north of Richmond constantly pushing them down and pounding them down, and not only not rewarding them, but penalizing them for being the producers in society, giving to people who produce absolutely nothing.
Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true. But it is. Oh, it is.
It is, and we got to deal with it.
New world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think.
Absolutely, they want total control. And what you will not hear on the debate stage, I think I had a video pulled up. I think I closed the tab, but they have the Republican debates now. What you will not hear is anybody getting up there saying, we're going to end, if I become president, we're going to end the domestic terror cell. And even if they said that, politicians are leeches and liars and parasites. Politics is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. And the Republican debates, the Democrat debates, the Team Red and the Team Blue is all meant to divide me and you.
Wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit. And it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of Richmond.
Yep, so true. It's taxed to no end because the rich men north of Richmond, all those politicians you say they're for you, they're just leeching off you. They're welfare recipients.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
This guy's name is Oliver Anthony, and his song is Rich Men North of Richmond. And it looks like he's just one of us. He's just a guy whose song went hyper viral. This thing's on the top of the Billboard charts, on top of the iTunes charts, knocking down country music singers who've got these multi-million dollar contracts with these recording companies. And it looks like this guy is outside of the realm of the establishment, not only political, but the music industry and all the way around. And it looks like he's just expressing his passion through music. I wanted to show you, before we get to this video right here where he kind of, lets people know what his song's all about. I have this Facebook post from him, and he kind of talks about who he is and what he's all about. He says, it's been difficult as I browse through the 50,000 plus messages and emails I've received in the last week. The stories that have been shared paint a brutally honest picture: suicide, addiction, unemployment, anxiety and depression, hopelessness, and the list goes on. I'm sitting in such a weird place in my life right now. I mean, this guy went from nothing to everybody's talking about him. The left is talking about him. The right is talking about him. The right is saying, oh, he's on our side. The left is saying, well, he's against us and he's another villain in society. I never wanted to be a full-time musician, much less sit at the top of the iTunes charts. Draven from Radio WV, that's West Virginia, and I filmed these tunes on my land with the hope that it may get 300,000 views. I still don't quite believe what has went on since we uploaded that. It's just strange to me. People in the music industry give me blank stares when I brush off $8 million offers. Apparently, he got an offer from some music company offering him $8 million, and he basically said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy whose song went viral, and you'll probably forget about me. I don't want 6 tour buses, 15 tractor trailers, and a jet. I don't want to play stadium shows. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I wrote the music I wrote because I was suffering with mental health and depression. These songs have connected with millions of people on such a deep level because they're being sung by someone feeling the words in the very moment they were being sung. No editing, no agent, no BS, just some idiot and his guitar. I just feel like I'm hoping that this guy is as humble as he presents himself to be. Because if he is, this could be a game changer. And the reason I'm saying that is I hearken back to like Samuel Adams' words, no people will tamely surrender their liberties, nor can any be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. On the contrary, when the people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders. How we repel the rich men in Richmond and the Federal Reserve and the IMF and the IRS and the ATF and the FBI and the CIA and all the intelligence agencies and all these organizations filled with evil people who want to do evil to us. How we repel that is by being upright people in our communities, by doing the right thing, by treating people the way we want to be treated, by fulfilling the golden rule, do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. And then expecting that from other people. That's how you change the world. You don't change it through politics. You don't change it by getting the most immoral, corrupt, lying, conniving, destructive people at the helm. Because, hey, if there's a power vacuum, guess who fills it? Psychopaths. And they fill it in the name of what? Keeping you safe. The alibi of tyrants is always going to be, hey, I just want to keep you safe. I want to do good in this world, is what a psychopath says. I have good intentions. But what does Daniel Webster say about good intentions? Good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. It's not too strong to say that the Constitution was made as a barrier, as a guard against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They mean to be your rulers. They mean to rule you. The style of music that we should have never gotten away from in the first place. So that being said, I've never taken the time to tell you who I actually am. Here's a formal introduction. My legal name is Christopher Anthony Lunsford. My grandfather was Oliver Anthony, and Oliver Anthony music is a dedication not only to him, but 1930s Appalachia, where he was born and raised. Dirt floors, 7 kids, hard times. At this point, I'll gladly go by Oliver because everyone knows me as such. But my friends and my family still call me Chris. You can decide for yourself. Either is fine. He says, in 2010, I dropped out of high school at the age of 17. I have a GED from Spruce Pine, North Carolina. I worked multiple plant jobs in Western North Carolina, my last being at the paper mill in McDowell County. I worked third shift 6 days a week for $14.50 an hour in a living hell. In 2013, I had a bad fall at work and fractured my skull. It forced me to move back to Virginia. Due to complications from the injury, it took me 6 months or so before I could work again. From 2014 until just a few days ago, I've worked outside sales in the industrial manufacturing world. My job has taken me all over Virginia and into the Carolinas, getting to know tens of thousands of other blue-collar workers on the job sites in factories. I've spent all day, every day for the last 10 years hearing the same story. People are so damn tired of being neglected, divided, and manipulated. In 2019, I paid $97,500 for the property and still owe about $60,000 on it. I'm living in a 27-foot camper with a tarp on the roof that I got off Craigslist for $750. There's nothing special about me. I'm not a good musician. I'm not a very good person. I've spent the last 5 years struggling with mental health and using alcohol to drown it. I'm sad to see the world in the state that it's in, with everyone fighting with each other. I've spent many nights feeling hopeless that the greatest country on earth is quickly fading away. That being said, I hate the way the internet has divided all of us. Remember, if there's any takeaway from this video right here, it's that we got to stop being distracted, deceived, and divided. We got to stop being rightists, calling our neighbor a leftist, libtard. You're a conservative bootlicker. What's going on? And then us just being at each other's throats while the banksters just continue to count their money, smoke their Black Dragon cigars, and sip on their cognac with their $130 million yachts that we paid for because they extracted the wealth from the unwitting, distracted, deceived, divided, demoralized, dehumanized, and conquered tax cattle. It really does have to stop. And maybe this is a catalyst to start that process. Maybe people will wake up and go, you know what? Why don't we stop doing what we've always been doing? Because if you keep on doing what you've always been doing, you'll keep getting what you always got. And that's more tyranny and more darkness and more suppression and more devaluation of whatever currency you're under right now. The internet is a parasite that infects the minds of humans and has their way with them. Hours wasted, goals forgotten, loved ones sitting in houses with each other, distracted all day by technology made by the hands of other poor souls in sweatshops in a foreign land. When is enough enough? When are we going to fight for what is right? Again, millions have died protecting the liberties we have. Freedom of speech is such a precious gift. Never in world history has the world had the freedom it currently does. Don't let them take it away from you. Just like those once wandering in the desert, we've lost our way from God and have let false idols distract us and divide us. It's a damn shame. And so a lot of people were asking about his political ideology and where he stands on the political spectrum. And this right here is the last thing that I'm going to read from him. And then we're going to listen to what he has to say in his own words with some of the videos on his own YouTube channel. This will be my last post about politics on social media. I apologize for beating a dead horse, but I just need to address this quote in my video earlier since it's been misquoted, misrepresented this evening. Corporate news, big surprise, is now trying to twist me into being a Biden supporter. And he's got a laugh till you cry emoji. That song has nothing to do with Joe Biden. It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden. It's referencing DeSantis' response to my song. He talks about needing to get Joe Biden out as if that would automatically solve all the problems. What we got to understand is that if you see the politician, whether a congressman, a senator, a governor, or a president and vice president of the United States, they're just puppets on a string. They're just the figurehead of something that's deeper and darker and more absurdly atrocious. That president that you see, Republican or Democrat, it scarcely matters, is in control and being held by not even just strings, but aircraft cables of the Federal Reserve and the IRS and the IMF and all the money makers and the Zio banksters who control this whole thing. Oh, that's conspiracy theory, Brian. You just delved in conspiracy. Is it true? Is it true? Call it what you want to. Is it true? Biden is a big part of the issue, but it runs much deeper. He says Richmond, north of Richmond, is about corporate-owned DC politicians on both sides. Though Biden's most certainly a problem, the lyrics aren't exclusively knocking Biden. It's bigger and broader than that. It's knocking the system collectively, including the corporate-owned conservative politicians that were on stage that night. And he's talking about that debate where they actually played his song on the debate stage to get a reaction from all the people who are involved in that right-leaning paradigm. But here's him in one of his first videos entitled "It's a Pleasure to Meet You," where he actually talks about some of this stuff. This is before he launched that song. This is before anybody knew who he was, knew his face, knew his name.
I know we're living in dark times, and I know that this is really just the beginning of what's to come. Now I spend a lot of time on job sites, and I meet people from all across the country, and the universal thing I see is that it's like no matter how hard they push and how much effort they put into whatever it is they're doing, they just can't quite get ahead because the dollar's not worth enough. It's being overtaxed. People are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to be a voice for those people. And not just them, just humans in general, and some of the struggles and the battles that they go through. I'll speak a few minutes on Richmond, north of Richmond, and then we'll hang this thing up. I don't want to chatter too long to you, but Richmond, north of Richmond, it touches on my time in Western North Carolina, working in the factory. It talks about some people that live north of Richmond, Virginia, who I'm sure you're very aware of, who make life a little more difficult than it should be. It touches base on human trafficking, and I'll say this: I sit pretty dead center down the aisle on politics, and always have. I remember as a kid the conservatives wanting war and me not understanding that, and I remember a lot of the controversies when the left took office, and it seems like both sides serve the same master, and that master is not someone of any good.
Seems like both sides do serve the same master. And who is that master? Follow the money. Key bono. Who benefits? Who benefits from their policies and their rules and their regulations that slam us to the ground while other billionaires and trillionaires make more and more money?
I think one of the worst things that a human being can do is take advantage of a child. I can't begin to conceptualize what has to happen to someone in order for them to think that's okay. And I think I drew the line on being quiet when I started to see that becoming normalized. And I'll leave that at that.
So this is before the release of Rich Men North of Richmond. Here is after the release, and here's kind of his reaction to the many reactions that he's gotten, and he kind of clarifies and crystallizes some of his thoughts about politics. What's interesting to me is you can see on this sidebar right here, Dwayne Johnson has reached out to him. A whole bunch of famous people have reached out to Oliver Anthony. And I kind of laugh at that because Dwayne Johnson is decidedly partisan, as are most superstars, Hollywood actors and rock stars and all that. They take a side in this partisan politics. First name that comes to my mind as a rocker who takes a side is Ted Nugent. He definitely takes the side of the right. It doesn't matter who the candidate is. He's going to vote right. And maybe it's time to get ourselves out of the left versus right paradigm lie, political parasitic paradigm lie. And maybe this is the guy that's going to help people get out of that. Because if he stays genuine, he appears genuine to me, I'm just going to take it at face value. I'm going to call this guy genuine. If he stays genuine and true to his morals and maintains a moral compass, he can and will make a major seismic difference in this world. And this world needs that.
It's August 25th, 2023. A lot's changed since the last time I sat here and spoke to you. My friends and family have asked me how I'm doing. Everybody is wondering if I've lost my sanity yet, and I'm surprisingly calm and at peace. I don't even know what to say, but I feel thankful to be given this opportunity. The music side is exciting, and all the Billboard, iTunes charts and all that crap. That's great, but the exciting part's been the conversations I've had with people and the things I've learned just in a couple weeks about about the human spirit, and about all sorts of other things, the music industry, and how dirty everything is. Like, it's worse than you think.
Somebody said in the comment section, Michael, why would you even question this man? Question this guy's not a savior. This guy could be a total fraud. I don't know. I'm hoping he's not. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Why would you question me? Question this man. Question yourself. Question everything. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. Question everything and everybody. Don't let down your guard and start trusting people. Develop your own morality. Make sure your morality is truly morality, and it's got to be rooted in, what people call the golden rule: do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. But to ask, why would you even question this man? You question it because that's what rational, reasonable, knowledgeable people do, who aren't gullible and who don't want to get, taken for everything that they've got, everything that their family's got. And I'm not just talking about monetary. They want to take everything from you, including your life. The powers that shouldn't be in Washington's district of criminals will not stop until every last piece of anything worth value is transferred from you to them. Question everything. Question everybody at all times, in every place, every single day.
So I don't know what the future looks like for me. I'm not really too concerned about the future. I'm living in the present, and I just have to have the discernment to make the right decisions from here on out. I don't want to go on some roller coaster ride and come off a different person. If there is anything for me to address at all with you, it's that the one thing that has bothered me is seeing people wrap politics up into this. I'm disappointed to see, it's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. But it seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. The other thing that I find aggravating is
I don't know exactly what he means by that, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, where there are people who will try to exploit the fame and popularity of other people so that they can get ahead in life. There is no shortage of those kind of people. But when people I have to believe, I don't know this for a fact, but I have to believe that there are genuine people out there who want to talk about this guy and put his message in the spotlight so that more people can hear it, so that it can actually affect a positive change. Yes, there are those people out there who are going to try to exploit this guy, dangle cash and material things in front of his face, and hopefully he won't change. Most people do. Most people just succumb to that kind of pressure. Here, I'll give you $20 million in a Lear jet, or, a tour bus. I'll give you a property and lands and all this kind of stuff. Here, come to work for us. A lot of people cave to that kind of pressure. But if you do have a moral compass and you're like, dude, all I need is the clothes on my back, a humble shelter to keep me out of the elements, a little bit of food in my stomach, but I want to change the world. I want to be a genuine person. I am hoping that this guy's genuine. I think this guy seems likable. I think that he is genuine. I hope that he is, because we need change. We definitely need a real substantial change that doesn't continue to go in the exact same direction that we've been going in. If you take a second right now, hit the share and like button so that we can get this video out, because I think more people need to see this guy.
Well, it was funny seeing my song it was funny seeing it at the presidential debate. Because it's like, I wrote that song about those people, you know? So for them to have to sit there and listen to that, that cracks me up. But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden.
Listen to this right here.
That song is written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too, not just them, but definitely them.
He's talking about the Republican debate stage. He is not playing partisan politics, and I hope he stays on that course. He is calling out both sides as being enemies of the American people, as being in the back pockets of the corporate elitists. I hope he stays on that course.
It's hard to get a message out about your political ideology or your belief about the world in 3 minutes and some change. But I do hate to see that song being weaponized. Like, I see the right trying to characterize me as one of their own, and I see the left trying to discredit me, I guess in retaliation.
I love that he's addressing this and calling this out, because if you look at Fox News, it's like, hey, one of our people, Oliver Anthony, is really sticking it to the left. And the left-leaning media is like, wow, he's really against poor people and obese people, and he sure looks like he's a pawn of the right. And this guy's saying, dude, I wrote this song for both of you guys. Why don't we all come together and stop being divided so that we can actually align against our real enemy instead of thinking that we are our enemies?
That shit's got to stop. If you watch the response videos on YouTube to this song, it's not conservative people responding to the song. It's not even necessarily Americans responding to the song. I don't know that I've seen anything get such positive response from such a diverse group of people. And I think that terrifies the people that I sing about in that song. And they've done everything they can the last 2 weeks to make me look like a fool, to spin my words, to try to stick me in a political bucket. And they can keep trying, but I'm just going to keep on writing. And I've got a lot of words to put down on paper, and I've got a lot of songs to put to chords, and I don't know what my music career is going to look like. I don't know how many shows I'm going to do and how many tours I'm going to put on, but I am going to stay true to my word. I'm going to write, produce, and distribute authentic music that represents people and not politics. I do feel compelled to address something. Since I have addressed the conservatives, I do need to address the left as well, because they're sending a message out that initial song that sort of shot me up the radar, Richmond, North of Richmond, is an attack against the poor. If you listen to my other music, it's obvious that all of my songs that reference class defend the poor. Doggone, it's a good example of that. Needles in the street, folks hardly surviving on sidewalks next to highways full of cars self-driving. The poor keep hurting and the rich keep thriving. It's like, that's what I like to sing about. And, you know, the English language is interpretive, and so I do understand, like, there may be some people who misunderstood my words in Richmond, North of Richmond. But I've got to be clear that my message, like with any of my songs, it references the inefficiencies of the government because of the politicians within it that are engulfed in bribes and extortion. And, you know, the words say that there's people on the street with nothing to eat and the obese milking welfare. That references a news article I read earlier this summer that adolescent kids in Richmond are missing meals over the summer because their parents can't afford to feed them and they're not in school to eat cafeteria lunch. And meanwhile, I think like 30 or 40% of the food bought with welfare or EBT money is in a classification of like snack food and soda. I think 10% spent on soda, and I want to say like 20 or 30% spent on junk food. And that's not the fault of those people. Welfare only makes up a small percentage of our budget. You know, we can fuel a proxy war in a foreign land, but we can't take care of our own.
Man, he is hitting a lot of the major buttons that need to be pushed. He's covering a lot of bases, and he's saying a lot of substantial things that I hope this thing, he released this 2 days ago. It's got 1 million views. Let's see. It's got 1,001,485 views. I hope this goes viral. This is number 15 trending on YouTube. It's almost like it's an organic breaking of the algorithm that usually tries to suppress this kind of stuff. That's why I'm excited about it. Now, I'm excited and reserved because, you know, we've been burned so many times by so many people in so many different areas. But still, you can't lose hope. You can't lose hope. And again, I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He's conveying himself as genuine, so I'm going to take him as genuine. I'm going to take him. I mean, he basically has been catapulted into a spotlight of being a world shaker with that one song, with that one 2 minute and 47 second song or whatever it is. And I love it. I love it.
That's all the song's trying to say. It's just saying that the government takes people who are needy dependent and makes them needy independent.
Yep, exactly. And that's exactly where the government wants you to be. They want you to see them, the people in government want you to see them as their savior, as their overlord, as their protector, as their provider, so that you become weak. They don't want self-empowered, critically thinking people like George Carlin says. They want people that they can put under their thumb and cause to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week so that they don't have time to pay attention to what's actually going on. They want you to come home after a hard day's work and turn on the news and listen to what CNN and MSLSD and faux news have to say about things so that you can become desensitized and demoralized just like they are. There's a quote, I can't remember the great strength of the totalitarian state is that it forces those who fear it to imitate it. People who buy into the left versus right paradigm lie. Oh, I hate the left, and the left saying, oh, I hate the right. Oh, we gotta get our guy in there this year or everything's gonna fall apart and the world's gonna go to hell in a handbasket. They force the totalitarian state, every totalitarian, not just left, not just right, not just center. They force those who fear it to start being like them, to imitate it. That is the power, the great power of the totalitarian state. Because if you're for government, then you're for taxation. If you're for taxation, you're for theft. If you're for theft and brutality and force and forcing people to do things against their will, then you're on board as long as your guy's in office. I don't mind my guy in office forcing you to do things against your will and causing wars and devaluing the dollar and then pushing all this garbage on the American people. But I definitely don't want the other side doing the same thing. So they're violating the golden rule. They're violating a principle that is self-evident that everybody knows is true. Do to others what you want done to you. Never initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who've done nothing wrong. That's what the government is all about. That's what it does 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Nobody has a higher claim over your life and property than you, but the government says that they do. And if you buy into government and you're into voting and you're into the left versus right paradigm lie, then you have been forced by the totalitarian state. Even though you fear it, you've been forced through brainwashing, through propaganda, through PR, cleverly run PR campaigns. You've been forced, unwittingly maybe, to imitate the very thing you say you hate.
I mean, 30-some million people understood what I was saying, but it only takes a few to try to derail the train, you know, to try to send out false narratives. And I'm sure there'll be more of that to come. It's like, it's driving people crazy to see the unity that's come from this, from all walks. This isn't a Republican and Democrat thing. This isn't even a United States thing. Like, this has been a global response. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Go on YouTube and watch all the response videos, you know? And don't shoot the messenger. Like, I'm a nobody. It's my belief that divine intervention has put me in this position in this point in time to get a message across, and that's all there is to it. Like, I'm nobody special. You know, I feel terrible almost that I've been put in this place, because there are a lot of artists and musicians out there that are far more talented, that have put in way more hours than me. Like, I don't deserve to sit in the top 5 places on the iTunes charts.
That kind of humility right there is unfathomably powerful. If he is truly humble and genuine, like I think he is, like he's coming across like he is, standing armies can't stop that kind of thing. You cannot stop this kind of humility and this kind of genuineness, because when it rings the bell, when it's time, what is that thing that Ron Paul used to say? Even a standing army cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is that idea, that message, that song, this person whose time has come at such an hour as this to start breaking down all these walls and these dividing barriers and get us set on the right track. Maybe this is it. Man, I hope it is.
And the truth is, I really could give a shit less about the iTunes charts. What I care about is connecting with people. What I care about is I don't know what this country is going to look like in 10 or 20 years if things don't change. I don't know what this world's going to look like. And like, something has to be done about it, you know? There's been too many people die. There's been too many people sacrifice everything they've had. People die before they're even 18, you know? Just for us to all sit here and just do the stupid shit it is that we do every day that keeps us all beat down and divided. Like, that's what I want to see stop. And I'm going to do everything I can to influence that.
Amen. And what if we did that same thing? And what if we all got our heads out of our collective bottom hole and we dropped all this political divide nonsense and just started doing the right thing? A general dissolution of principles and manners will more surely overthrow the liberties of America than the whole force of the common enemy. While the people are virtuous, they cannot be subdued. But when once they lose their virtue, they'll be ready to surrender their liberties to the first external or internal invader. That's what this is all about. This is all about looking at yourself, looking at the world, assessing the situation, identifying the problem, and usually it's us. And if we get us out of the way as part of the problem, we can actually come up with a solution to change the entire world. But it starts with a moral compass. It starts with doing the right thing. It starts with not lying and deceiving and trying to divide people and getting into politics and, claiming that the government is something that it's actually not. It's not your savior. It's not your protector. It's not anything good. It's filled with evil. We all know it. And this song and this guy right here is bringing it to light.
Even if it does throw my world upside down, it's well worth it. But for now, I'm hanging in there and I'm doing what I can. And I really appreciate everybody who's along for the ride. So there's a lot more to come, and I'm excited for it. And I'll see you on the next one.
I got to admit, I'm pretty excited for it too. I'm one of those people. I've got to have hope. I've got to have hope that there are genuine people like this, and that this guy's really my brother, and he really wants to make a difference. And part of that making difference, part of telling the truth, is exposing lies and tyranny and corruption. That's just all part and parcel of this whole thing. There should be a divide, but that divide has to be between us and them, the them who want us all divided. We don't need to be divided. Yeah, there's going to be, you got to shed the dead wood in your life, the things that are bringing you down, the things that are negative, the things that are evil. You got to walk away from that. You got to untangle yourself from it. You got to clip the aircraft cables that surround your heart with that kind of corruption and nonsense, and walk away from it and start life anew. But then you teach other people to do the same thing. The thing that can't be tolerated is this incessant, continual evil that's being perpetrated on mankind by one of the worst things that has ever happened to this planet, and that's the rich men north of Richmond in Washington's District of Criminals. So if you got something out of this video, if it resonates with you, hit the share button, hit the like button. That's how we get the message out. That's how we get this guy's message out. Go to this guy's channel. It's called Oliver Anthony Music. I'll go to his website right now, or his YouTube channel. And, give this guy some views, give this guy some support, tell him how you feel, let him know High Impact Flicks sent you. If you want to, I don't care. Whatever small platform I have, I will promote somebody like this, because I think this is potentially a paradigm destroyer. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, remember, give this video a share, give it a like, share it with everybody you know. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon and all that kind of stuff. The key takeaway here is that freedom is priceless and it's dangerous and it will cost you everything. But the thing that's more dangerous and the thing that's more costly is not having freedom. I will see you in the next live stream.